Dear Professor, my fellow classmates, glad to meet you all here. I'm very happy to share the content of Chapter 7 with you, Anticipating Ethical Issues. This chapter is to develop the skill of anticipating ethical issues that might arise in your qualitative study. This presentation will cover 5 parts. Part 1, the importance of the skill. Part 2, human protections in your qualitative research. Part 3, ethical issues at different phases in the research. Part 4, ethical issues we have faced as qualitative researchers. And an example will be made for you here. The last part, permissions for borrowed materials used in qualitative research. At the beginning, I'd like to talk about tools briefly. One is IRB, the Institutional Review Board. IRB is a committee at an institution that applies research ethics by reviewing the methods proposed for research done at that institution to ensure that the projects are ethical. Such boards are formally designated to approve or reject, monitor, and review biomedical and behavioral research involving humans. And they are legally required in some countries under certain specified circumstances. Most countries use some form of IRB to safeguard ethical conduct of research so that it complies with national and international forms, norms, regulations, or codes. And the explanation is borrowed from Wikipedia. The other word is APA, American Psychological Association. It's a leading scientific and professional organization representing psychology in the United States, with more than 146,000 researchers, educators, clinicians, consultants, and students as its members. Their mission is to promote the advancement, communication, and application of psychological science and knowledge to benefit society and improve lives. If you want to know much more information about APA, the link is always available to you. Now, let's come to the first part, why the skill is important. It's a topic that's underscored in the publication manual of the APA, and is given emphasis in qualitative research classes. Furthermore, the ethics of protecting human subjects in our research are important because institutions require institutional review board approval to protect human subjects before you can begin your research. Also, because qualitative research often involves collecting data personally from individuals on emotional topics and collecting up-close data. A need exists to be sensitive to the rights of individuals and to make sure that your study doesn't cause participants harm. It also means being respectful to other authors who may work with you on your project and whose materials you may borrow to use in your qualitative study. Qualitative research involves interaction with people, so that accounts for the reasons why we should put emphasis on it. Please allow me to present importance again by citing Patton's idea. That is, because qualitative methods are highly personal and interpersonal, because Naturalistic inquiry takes the researcher into the real world where people live and work. And because in-depth interviewing opens up what's inside people, qualitative inquiry may be some more intrusive and involve greater reactivity than surveys, tests, and other qualitative approaches. So, you need to anticipate ethical issues and actively address them in your qualitative projects. This means knowing the safeguard you need to put in place from the IRB, what ethical issues may arise in a project, and what permissions you will need for borrowed material in a qualitative study. Now, let's move to the second part. Part 2. Human protections in your qualitative research. Before collecting qualitative data, you need to receive approval from your IRB that you have protected the rights of human subjects. These boards review your qualitative project and provide permission for you to proceed. You need to know that these boards exist because they are required by federal mandate to review projects. As a qualitative researcher, you need to do two things: submit an application describing your project and help participants in your qualitative study complete a consent form. The application process is often conducted online and involves detailing your data collection procedures and providing an overview of your study. In the application, you typically need to convey the purpose of the study, describe data collection procedures, provide names and contact information for participants to reach you, describe how participants will be approached, state the benefits that will likely accrue to participants, and whether compensation will be provided to them. You also need to describe how informed consent will be obtained, how confidentiality will be protected, and the potential identification of participants, and describe the procedures for record storage and access. You also need to attach protocols that will be used in the qualitative study. The consent form also needs to be drafted. You can refer to Chapter 13 as for this part.